Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory, honor, and praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. And salutations to the brothers that's teaching this truth and sincerity. And shalom to the hopeful elect. And 1/3, the sincere listeners. All right, Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahushai being the name of his son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This gospel, this truth, the kingdom of heaven, salvation is for the Israelites and the Israelites only, who are you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, and the ones scattered abroad that may look like the other nations. All right, but your spirit resonates with this truth. All right, the kingdom of heaven salvation is for you. All right, now this video was pretty much going to be inspired. I don't have an exact title yet, but I'm going to give you the. I've been meditating on there's a lot of Israelites, so-called, I guess African Americans or whatever, or FBAs, whatever you want to call them, black people that are finding out that they are actually Native Americans, right, or indigenous to America, right? And I'm not taking away from the fact that that is true, all right, because we do have brothers in GMS that acknowledge their heritage. That's because they're able to identify who they were on the 12 tribes chart. Okay, we have brothers, so-called dark-skinned looking brothers, you know what I mean, so-called negroid feature looking brother, negroid, so to speak, to the naked eye looking brothers, even amongst GMS and affiliate camps or wherever. All right, but they acknowledge that the main thing is they acknowledge that they're from their respective tribe of the 12 tribes. Okay, because they know that it's deeper than just being called Native American and making a separation from being black or African American or FBA or whatever title that you Israelites want to put yourself under nowadays, man. Okay, because what I'm seeing is it's almost like a lot of people are ashamed, which you should be. Okay, you should be ashamed. Okay, that you came to this land, you came to America, you came to the Americas or the Caribbean, wherever. I'm mainly dealing with Judah, Gad, Reuben right now, so to speak. Judah, Gad, and Reuben. I'm mainly dealing with those three because amongst those three in America, they're all mixed up. They're gonna have them all, they're kind of mixed up, and then and that's really what's going on right now. You're having some Judites claiming to be indigenous to the land, and we're gonna get into that because I'm not denying the claim. That's not the point, and you know what I mean. That's not the point. The point is, okay, what were you before that, right? And that's why I made mention of the brothers in this truth, in this walk, in this ministry of ours, that do acknowledge they may look, quote unquote, you might mistake them as a Judite. Not to say if the spirit's not working with you, but certain brothers are spiritually inclined to be like, yo, that brother looks like a Gadite. But you might, but to the world, even amongst Jake, because they're not even initiated into what we know, they would just think that they would just think that that's a Negro. I'm gonna give you an example. All right, now you can have your own, formulate your own opinion. Okay, but this is Jake. This is a basketball player. I personally believe he's a northern kingdom, and I'm gonna agree about that. You know what I'm saying? I personally believe he could be a Gadite or a Reubenite. You know what I mean? He doesn't have like a full on. I'm not saying he could be Judah. I'm not saying he could be Judah, but to me, he could pass as a Gadite or a Reubenite, so to speak. You know what I mean? I'll give you another example. Okay. I'll go to DeMar DeRozan, another basketball player. I believe that he's Northern Kingdom. Okay. I personally, he's from the West Coast. I believe he's a Gadite. Okay. I'm just going. I'm not to say it matters, but he has a certain look to him that I making a personal assumption. He may not know this. You get what I'm trying to say? But I'm just coming to this conclusion. You know what I mean? Because this is what my eyes see, and I could be wrong. It doesn't matter. But I'm not taking away from the fact that there are so-called black people, black-looking people that are native to the land or indigenous to the land, or whatever. Right? But we got to understand, how did they even get to the land? Right? That's another thing. We got to understand, how did these people even get to the land? How did you even get to this land? Because a lot of you people are acting like America is this greatest place on the planet, as if it's not going to be destroyed, man. Okay? A lot of you want to be indigenous to the land of America. And this place is going down, man. You know what I mean? This place, in 1 hour, this place is going to be destroyed. Okay? There's a lot of scriptures I want to get, man. Oh, man. Let's see. Okay, I'm going to keep... Yeah, I've got that. All right. Let's see. Jeremiah 50. Maybe it's 51. Okay? Because America is Babylon the Great, man. And this place is going to be destroyed. But a lot of you Israelites... All right, you Judites, Reubenites, and Gadites. You know what I mean? You're clinging on to this place as if this is the end all, be all, and it's gonna be destroyed. You're tree hugging. That's what the fuck you're doing. I call you tree huggers. Mainly you Native Americans, all right, which is you Gadites, and you Reubenites, which is you Seminole Indians. You're tree hugging right now, man. You're tree hugging. Here it is. Esau's coming with the bulldozer, and you're friggin' tree hugging, man. And that means you're gonna die here. You're gonna die. You're gonna die in that land, man. Okay? Get out of that mindset. This is a cursed and polluted land. Oh, Babylon the Great. Oh, America. No, they're not even saying Babylon the Great. Oh, America, America. You know what I mean? I'm indigenous to America. I'm indigenous. Oh, what's the other thing that they're saying now? They're saying how Egypt is in America, okay, and this is the original land, and pretty much what trying to downplay the transatlantic slave trade as well. Let me get some scriptures. I know I was going on a little rant, but this video, I'm touching on a lot of topics. But, it has to come out in the spirit. Somebody has to say it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's to no avail at the end of the day. A lot of you people, man, you just want to belong to something. And except, you're taking a covering, but not of the Most High. And I'm going to get that scripture as well. Yeah, Jeremiah 51:1. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me a destroying wind. All right, what is that destroying wind? It's going to be the the impact of the nuclear missiles hitting America, all right, which is coded as Babylon or Babylon the Great, okay, in the scriptures. So that land is going to be destroyed, okay? So why would you want to be there? Jeremiah, why would you want to claim, why are you going so hard to claiming that you're indigenous to this land? And this land is going to be destroyed anyways. You know what I mean? Here it is, you're going so hard claiming that, you're indigenous and you're not black, you're not from Africa. That's another thing. All right? Oh, we're not African, whatever. You're not African. I agree. We're not African. We just that was just a place we were dwelling at. Okay? That was just a place we were dwelling at. Okay, it wasn't that we're African, so to speak. We're not African. We're not going by those bywords, man. We're Israelites from our respective tribes. Okay, that's who we are. That's our identity. That's our nationality. Okay. It says, and I will send unto Babylon fanners that shall fan her and shall empty her land. For in the day of trouble they shall be against her round about. They're going to continue to fire, because after the impact of the nuclear missile, it's going to be fire. But the fanners are going to keeping the fire going, man. Okay, it's like when you open up when you start up a fire, not cabin fire, but a campfire. You know what I mean? In order to get the fire going, you got to fan it to keep it going, right? To get to ignite, to let the fire spread. So the Lord is going to send around these different nations to keep sending more missiles on them, man. All right, pretty much an instigator onto Babylon, because Babylon did everybody dirty. Those are going to be the fanners, all the enemies of Babylon. Okay, even the Edomites. Okay, even other Edomite nations are going to take part in that, man. Against him that bendeth, let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifteth up himself in his brigandine, and spare ye not her young men, destroy ye utterly all her loss. So what does this sound? This is all war right here, man. Okay, destruction. I'm just giving you an insight of what's to come to Babylon the Great, man. Thus the slain shall fall in the land of the Chaldeans, and they that are thrust through in her streets. For Israel hath not been forsaken, nor Judah of his God Yahweh, of the Lord of hosts Yahweh, though their land was filled with sin against the Holy One of Israel. Flee out of the midst of Babylon. That means leave. Spirit. How are we going to do that? We got to do that spiritually, especially if you live in America. Okay, because you can't. In that time, you're not going to be able to hop on a plane, and we're not telling you to do these things either. If you live in America, that's where you live. That's your place of captivity, especially if you've woken up to this truth, right? Now, I'm not saying, you know what I mean, you can't leave America or whatever, but wherever you leave, you basically gotta go. Wherever you plan, if you plan on leaving the country, and you're a man of the Lord, you got to go to where there's a camp, wherever there is on the earth. You see what I'm saying? And, basically, wherever there's a camp, best believe there's still going to be oppression. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean. You can leave Babylon physically. Yeah, you could do that if, whatever opportunities or whatever. You just want a change. You can do that. That's your God-given right. As a man, you can travel, whatever. You do whatever the hell you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But like spiritually, that's your home. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And that's why spiritually, that's how you flee. You flee out of Babylon by returning back unto the Heavenly Father, keeping His laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability, right? As well as acknowledging and understanding who you are to the Lord, okay? And you are an Israelite. If you have to accept that. You got to accept that, man. And then you got to also accept Yahweh Shai, His son, okay? a dark-skinned man from the tribe of Judah, a so-called black man. All right, that you want to pretty much denounce or stray or shit, shy away from, man. Okay. Like like I said, like this is a spirit. So you hear a lot of quote unquote black Americans. They say, "Oh, I'm Cherokee. I'm Native American. I'm this and that." I'm not saying they're not. You get what I'm trying to say? That is true, because you got to do the real math on how that land was set up, man. Okay, and who was there? Okay, who did you have in America? And I said in the beginning I said Gad, Reuben, and Judah. I can throw in Issachar in there as well. You see what I'm saying? I could throw in Issachar in there as well. All right, for the northern tribe. All right, but Judah obviously for the southern kingdom through the spirit. You know what I mean? Shit, what was my point? Regardless, let me read and then oh right. right. Let's get something here. Washington Redskins logo. Okay, now you see they're pretty much telling you the complexion of the not all the Native Americans, but the ones that were dark skinned and originally dark, so to speak, and not to say they were originally light or dark, okay, because there's a scripture for that as well, okay, but this is an idea of you get an understanding, and then you look at the nose. It's a certain like kind of phenotype that they have, and I'm not saying if you have this nose you're automatically that tribe, but all the tribes have a specific phenotype. You know what I mean? And even for me, when I travel to America, when I go to America, I can kind of tell the difference between Benjamin and Judah. I just say Benjamin and Judah. Okay, I can tell the slight differences between Benjamin and Judah. Like when I go to America, I'm seeing black. I'm just a very observant person, so I'm seeing black people I've never seen before, so to speak. You know what I mean? In a sense of, I didn't know people could look like that. You know what I mean? They have a distinct look about them, and they could be Reuben, and they could be Gad. You see what I'm saying? So they're all mixed up, right? There's not one specific trait, so to speak, that makes you of the tribe you are. You know what I mean? However, there is certain things, I mean, it's just for the spirit it's just for the spirit to reveal to you. You know what I mean? So you gotta understand, right? Like, I wanted to say, what did I want to say? At the time of when Esau came to the Americas, who was already in America? Who did he see? Who did he meet? Okay. Well, guess what? You had Jake. All right, you had a Gad, Reuben, Issachar. All right, for sure you had Gad, Reuben, Issachar. But then you also had Judah from Europe. Judah was traveling into the Americas as well. All right, that's why you hear things about black people owned slaves in America as well, because they were free. They were freemen. Okay, they actually got involved into the slave trade, so that took place in America. But why do you think your oppressor wants that history hidden from you? because he doesn't want you thinking that you were in a quote unquote rulership mentality, rulership position. You had your own autonomy. He doesn't want you thinking that way. You see what I'm saying? And then on top of that, it was for your downfall. The I guess the Southern Kingdom, right? Before they brought in the other Southern Kingdom slaves, right, into America. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about, I'd probably be around the 1400s that the Southern Kingdom, from parts of the Southern Kings, some explorers or whatever from those times came to the Americas and set up shop. Just to, you know what I mean? Just to relocate, so to speak. And then on top of that, when the Edomites were doing the conquering and all that stuff, they also did have Israelites, Southern Kingdom Jakes, with them as interpreters. You know what I mean? And had them on a certain level up until a certain time. But this was going into the new Roman Empire, man, and they had to learn from their the old. They had to learn from their mistakes, man. Letting Jake in to rise up, man. They had to figure out a way to divide and conquer Jake. Okay, and they had to keep and suppress Jake. Keep Jake at the very bottom forever. This wasn't a thing about status and class anymore, man. Okay, because the Edomites, they wanted to rule. They didn't want nobody else to get their rulership. Okay, like how the first Roman Empire was. Okay, the first Roman Empire was basically about status, class. It wasn't really about skin color, race. It wasn't about that. Okay, who was mainly ruling? Yeah, the Edomites. Okay, but you can build yourself up in Rome as an Israelite, as a Jake. You pay your taxes, you do your thing. You can get that Roman status. You can, you're not a slave. They treat you as a Roman citizen. You get the perks of a Roman citizen. You know what I mean? They deal with you as that. You know what I mean? You got quote unquote some, not sovereignty, but sovereignty under the Roman rule, so to speak. You know what I mean? If you weren't a slave. But they had to learn from that in this kingdom. So they're not going to tell you Israelites, oh, black people, black people were on a level and they were free. There was free men. And, they're not going to tell you all that. They're not going to go into the detail about all that. That's pretty much for you to go into, which a lot of you people do. Right? But what's the bigger point? What's the main point? What's the situation with you guys right now? The situation is that you're all under captivity right now. You're all under this white man's system, his rule. Okay? You're under his laws, his guide, his jurisdictions, man. You're prisoners of war. So all this, you're claiming the land and this, that, and the third, it doesn't mean shit. Because he's claiming the land too. So now what, my nigga? Why do you want to claim the same land as this devil? And the land is polluted, man. We got to get that. The numbers. Shed. Land. Shed. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, it was Numbers 35. Or 30, yeah. Numbers 35. It says, so ye shall not pollute the land wherein ye are. For blood it defileth the land, and the land cannot be cleansed of the blood that is shed therein, but by the blood of him that shed it. Right, so right now you're in polluted land. And let me get that in the NLT. Okay, right? Because your ancestors' blood has been slaughtered in that land. Okay? All throughout the Americas. All throughout the earth, really and truly. Wherever there's unjust land slaughter, man, that land is polluted. unjust murder, so to speak. Wherever there's murder, massacres, genocide, unjustly, that land is polluted. What's the greatest polluted land? America. Okay, so that's why it's going to be completely taken off the map, to completely turn to a desert. Okay, and that's spiritual, because Egypt. When Moses was in Egypt with the Israelites, and the Egyptians were ruling, man. The Mizraimites. Okay, that land was beautiful, man. You best believe that land was green. It wasn't no fucking desert. Okay, Esau like to make it seem like it was just a fucking desert. That place, man. Esau's a devil. Have you thinking that way? Have you thinking that it was never a plush land? It wasn't like a green land. That land was green. That whole Saharan area, that land was green, man. But the Lord cursed that land, man. All right, to where it's not arable anymore. You can't, vegetation, so to speak. The Lord cursed that land, man. Okay, and who knows? The Lord might replenish, revitalize it. Who knows? Or leave it as is, man. And we go explore other lands, because when the destruction hits, it's gonna be new islands, new lands formed, right? Earthquakes popping, volcanoes, sprouting out new lands. Who knows, man? The map's gonna look way different, man. Okay? Who knows what the Lord has in store for us, man? And not to mention the other planets, man. Okay? But let me grab this in the NLT quick. Where you get a better understanding. Numbers 35-33 in the NLT. This will ensure that the land where you live will not be polluted, for murder pollutes the land, and no sacrifice except the execution of the murderer can purify the land from the murderer. All right, so why are you so gung-ho and hell-bent on denying the fact that, some of you denying the fact, or that you are actually a product of the transatlantic slave trade? Okay, or why are you to then say, oh, I'm indigenous to America, right? Because and then this place is going to be destroyed. This place is going to be done, because the Lord doesn't like polluted land. The only way to cleanse the polluted land is to destroy the people that did it, that destroyed you. And it's not even destroy, it's to murder. And it's not even, the Lord said you have to kill the people that murdered you and your ancestors. Because killing and murder is two different things. Killing is done righteously. Murder is unjust. Murder is for no reason. The Lord has laws on killing, on what you can be put to death for. That's not considered murder. Okay? Now, for example, if I hate my brother, okay, and I smite him because I hate, that's murder, man. I have no reason for that, man. Okay, I have no reason. You didn't do nothing to me, but I don't like that nigga. I'm gonna be killed for that. Okay, because the Lord doesn't like that. That's just an example. You know what I mean? I'm just giving an example. We're not supposed to be in that spirit. But these Edomites, they're in that spirit. They kill for nothing. They murder for nothing. Okay, and they don't bat an eye at it. You know what I mean? They think they're doing a good thing. Right? Okay. So let me get another scripture. Let me get back in the KJV. it 17? I guess it was. Oh, this says 10. It's hiding from me. I knew it was in 10. Standing afar off for fear. Okay. Yeah, so a lot of you Israelites, okay, are attached to Babylon, okay, America, but this is the fate of America, okay, and this is what the Lord wants you to do. But this is the fate of America. I'm gonna start at Revelations 18 and 9. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. All right, because America is going to be on fire, burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. So America is, Babylon the Great is going to be destroyed in 1 hour from the nuclear missiles, right? So a lot of you tree huggers, man, you're going to get caught up. 2/3 of our people, the wicked of our people, you're going to be tree hugging. You love America, you love Babylon, you love Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, and his ways, his laws. You like degeneracy, you like niggeracy, all right? You like below mediocrity. You like being a prisoner of war. So you're going to take part in that judgment in 1 hour. Okay? All right, this is Isaiah 30 and 1. Woe to the rebellious children, saith the Lord Yahweh, that take counsel, but not of me, and that cover with a covering, but not of my spirit, that they may add sin to sin. Right. So your covering is saying, you belong here, or we're indigenous to this land. How the fuck did you get to that land? Do you know? Do you know how you got to the land? All right. Do you know where you came from before that? Right? Are you gonna care to know where you came from? Are you gonna accept the fact that before you were in the West, you were originally in the East, and that you go back to a man, your forefather named Jacob? Are you gonna accept that? Do you care to accept that? All right, because it's deeper than all of that. Okay. Where your actual homeland is, because America is not your homeland. It's just a pit stop, man. It's just a place we were traveling through, man. Okay, this is Galatians 4 and 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all. You know how a lot of people say, oh, Africa is the motherland. All nations came out of Africa, blah, blah, blah. That's bullshit. Okay? It's really the quote-unquote motherland is the land of Jerusalem, the land of Israel. All right? That's where we stem from. All right? And really, Jerusalem is a people before a place. But it is also a place. Don't get it twisted. But that's where our homeland is. So that would make sense. That's our homeland. Okay? That's where we stem back from. That's the root. So you making claims to this land, and it's going to be destroyed. Do you even know what the name of what did you guys call this land before? You know what I mean? Because I'm not saying the indigenous didn't have names for their land or whatever, or for their tribes or whatever. the different tribes. But a lot of you newfound woke Jake, Judites, whatever, Gadites, Reubenites, finding out that you're indigenous to the land. I'm not talking about the ones that already knew that they're quote it that they're Native American, so to speak. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about this new fad that you see on the internet of people claiming that no, we're not black, we're not African American, we're not from Africa. All right, and what's not to say, but what's you're in no better position than the person that's from Africa and that's not from Africa. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, I don't really see I'm seeing the division, right? But like I said, this is only for the elect anyways. So I don't really care. You know what I'm saying? It's only for the elect. Okay, but you see, people like the thing is they like to take hold onto things, and just run with it, and anything but the Lord, anything but the scriptures, right? That's what these people are about, and if you can accept, I got to make this point as well. If you can accept the fact that so-called quote unquote black people were indigenous to America, right? And that are really whatever, like you said, then you can accept the fact that so-called black people ruled Europe as well. You gotta still be able to conceptualize that as well. That's not a hard thing to grasp. But a lot of you people, you associate Europe with the white man, and Europe was named after Europa, which was a Greek goddess, which was really a so-called black woman. Okay, but you don't know that, and not to say I'm not reverencing the Greek goddess and all that shit. I'm not reverencing that shit. I'm just saying you people don't know these things, man. Okay, and you don't know that for 1,000 years, black people ruled your so-called black people ruled Europe, man. Nor do you consider. All right, you just think, okay, the Moors. Oh yeah, the Moors. Okay, Spain, Portugal. That's it. No, all of Europe, man, all the way up until Russia. Why you think the Russians were showing the Russian icons in the churches? Putin was quote unquote exposing the black Russian icons, showing you the true color of the people of the Bible, so to speak, man. The depictions that they had, exposing this place, But it's deeper than all of that. Like I said, Jerusalem is the mother of us all. That's where we stem. That's where we go back to, man. It's deeper than just, we're Jake. We get around, man. We're gonna get around. We travel. Okay, traveling is not it shouldn't be a hard thing to conceptualize, man. You people make it seem like traveling is, only the white man traveled, man. That's how you people act. Only the white man can draw a map, and that's bullshit. Only the white man had ships. No. Oh, you know what I mean? Only in this age the wheel was invented, man. The wheel been around. The invention of the wheel been around, man. Okay? Sure, you know what I mean? There's certain technologies that we don't even know we have, so to speak, that we were using back then that we don't have now. And that's for the Lord to reveal unto us. Okay? But, you people think that you're on such a high level because you have an iPhone now, man. No, that's not the case. It's Matthew 13 and 11. It says, he answered and said unto me, because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. Right? So majority of you people, you Israelites, 2/3, whatever, and the wicked of our people throughout the world, they're not gonna, or really the 2/3. I'm really talking about the 2/3 right now, or the, a percentage of the 2/3 that claim to be indigenous to the land. Let's put it that way. You're not gonna agree with this. You're not gonna, and I'm not here for you. I'm not here for all Israel to get this, man. But the reason why the Lord's using me as a vessel to pretty much either wake you up out of sleep, to come out of that madness, which majority of you won't. So the latter, the Lord's using me to pretty much condemn you, so you can say, oh, so you can't say I didn't know that, or I had an excuse. Oh, I didn't know, you didn't tell me. No, you see what I'm saying? Because I'm trying to cover a vast topic right now, man. Because you Jakes are bugged out, man. All right. This is Romans 11:7. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but for the election. Salakia. What then? Israel hath not obtained that which he seeketh for, but the election hath obtained it. Right. And the rest were blinded. Right. So I'm only here for the elect. We're only here for the elect, the ones that are going to wake up to this truth, come back to their nationality, to one of the 12 tribes. All right. Like I said, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and the ones scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth that may look like the other nations. All right. The elect is scattered. All right. But guess what? And the rest were blinded. All right. That's a lot of motherfuckers that's blinded. Okay, because that's a lot of Israelite foreigners that's blinded. Just because you're an Israelite foreigner, as well, right? Just because you're an Israelite foreigner doesn't guarantee you a seat or a ticket into the chariot. We say, oh, so and so is a Jake. That guy's a Jake. You know what I mean? So-called white guy, but he's a Jake. Yeah, okay, yeah, he's a Jake. But what? And so what? We say it for edification's sake. We know that. But in actuality, man, Jacob's trouble is gonna eat the foreigners up, man. Especially if you're in America. If you look like a Edomite, if you're a Jake, if you're an Israelite and you look like a Edomite, Jacob's trouble is gonna be hell for you if you don't have the covering of the Lord, man. Because Jake is carnal, man. Jake, like I said, Jake is carnal, man. Jake only goes by skin color, just like his father, the devil. Jake they can't conceptualize the spirit, man. The Jake is carnal right now. Jake is a beast, man. So if Jake see you and it's a whole all-out race war, all right, just best believe he's coming for you, man. So you better be ready to go for him. That's you guys' lot. That's the lot of a 2/3. Whether you're whether you're the foreigner or the doesn't matter. That's a lot of two. Jake's gonna be going at it. He's a Edomite looking Jake, going at Jake, with melanin, a Negro Jake, so to speak. And they're gonna that's gonna be the death, dishonorable death of 2/3. Okay? Because Jake, everybody's just on a carnal tip. Oh, race war. Oh, you're black, you're white, you're Chinese, you're this, you're not black, whatever. Oh, you're mixed, you're this, stay over there. You know what I mean? All that shit. That's the confusion of this world. And that's the confusion that you Jakes are trying to separate yourself from being African, black. And I just put out these words, right? But we know that we don't associate ourselves with these words, right? But Jake will have you think that because you're from this part of the land, that we're not that. Or we're us. We're this. We're not that. Right? It's just all trying to make themselves feel good, so to speak. You know what I mean? When you really should be feeling good, knowing that you come from you come from the greatest lineage of people on the planet, man. Okay, the ancestors that you have, your forefathers, right? And it's a multitude of great men and quote unquote women. Our history is great, man. That's how I gotta put it. Jake, they don't want to consider, man. They don't want to consider these things. They don't want to consider how they even ended up in this land to begin with, that they call America, right? And I'm gonna get that. I'm gonna have this one scripture on Koch, but I'm gonna get that because I do want to talk about the transatlantic slave trade, man. Because they like to downplay that as well. That's another thing that these people are trying to downplay, as if it never happened, man. That shit happened, man. Best but fucking leave. That shit happened, man. Okay. Don't play dumb. Don't play stupid like it didn't happen. And you know, like I said, there's this thing now where it's like I don't want to be a descendant of slaves. I was never a descendant of slaves. Okay, fine, but you're still a slave. You have a sin number. You're a slave. You're a slave under this man's system. You weren't okay. You weren't a descendant of slaves, so to speak. Your forefathers weren't getting their back whooped. Where's your land now? Okay, you're claiming the land. Where's your land? Okay, where's your rights? Esau, the so-called white man, don't give a fuck about none of that. All that division you're doing between so-called melanated people, all that shit, whatever. You know, claiming that you're this and that. You know, was that? Esau don't care. The fuck? You see what I'm saying? So you got to get out of that mindset, man. You got to get out of that mindset, man. Just repent, turn back to the Lord. Like I said, it's only for the elect anyways. Okay? But let's go into some history and how, you know, whether you want to receive it or not. This is after the split of the North and Southern Kingdom. Okay, where the Northern Kingdom went into the Assyrian captivity. And you can look this up. This is history that you can look up, man. And it's going to talk to you. It's going to show you how they came onto the other side of the world. All right. This is 2nd Ezra 13 and 40. So those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanassar, the king of Assyria, led away captive, and he carried them over the waters, and so came they into another land. It says, verse 41, but they took this counsel among themselves, that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Do you know where this further country was? It was the Americas, the Caribbean islands, the Americas. Okay? That's where, how do they know of this land? King Solomon. King Solomon had a navy. He had the Hamites go, he sent his navy, which is the other nations, or the other nation, the Hamites, to go and get all type of precious metals and stuff like that, resources. Okay, so they knew of that land. It's just that nobody lived there, so to speak. Okay, and of course, right? And of course, when people travel to a land, they set up shop, so to speak, for a little bit before they head back. They pitch tent before they head back, and they might leave some marker. They might leave certain clues to show you that, hey, I'm here, you know. And that's what you have with the Olmec. You see a lot of Olmec, stone carvings, so to speak. And that was just their way of saying, hey, I'm here, so to speak, you know? So that's what people do. You know what I mean? People like to, when you explore new lands, so to speak, you like to say, oh, I'm here. I made it, so to speak. This is me. You know, it's just something people do. But guess what? Our people had that knowledge. Oh, that came from the other side of the world. So of course the Northern Kingdom, the heads of the Northern Kingdom, certain elders and all that stuff, prominent members, they knew. Okay, yeah, the Americas, not to say they call it the Americas, but this is what I'm just saying. What you people call it now, man. They knew. Okay, but they took this counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt, that they might there keep their statutes, which they never kept in their own land. And they entered into Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. All right, the Euphrates River. For the Most High then showed signs of them and held still the flood until they were passed over. So this was a very dangerous voyage, man. All right, but guess what? The Lord was with them. The Lord was balancing the waters, keeping the waters smooth in order for them to travel through. And guess what? As they're traveling through, they're stopping off. Okay, after they get around the Horn of Africa, we gotta get this on the map now. Let's see, Syrian Empire map images. Why is this shit so small? God damn. I don't think it has the name of the sea. But where's the Euphrates? I'm assuming it's somewhere. Is it through the Persian Gulf or the Red Gulf? Let me go on Google Maps. We gotta do this geography. I'm assuming it's through here, honestly. From what I remember. Let's see. Well, that's a highway. Let me just type it in. Okay. So it's close in that. It's in that region. Alright, so we found it. So I was able to highlight it. It just wasn't popping up right away. Alright, so we got it. But it went all the way throughout the Persian Gulf. Okay. So perfect. This area, I'm assuming this is it here. I'm assuming that it's not going to say it, but it does exist to this day, right? And when you zoom in and you follow the trail of the Euphrates River, okay, as you see, it's highlighted, okay? Obviously, certain things wasn't like this, and it was probably wider than this, but whatever. You see it all the way here, flowing, all the way down. It's going to go into the Persian Gulf. You see it, 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 you see the blue, you see the blue. You just follow the river. That's what they were doing. They followed the river. Follow the river. Okay, lots of fish, a lot of food. They could stop off, get food, set up camp, right? Campfire, so to speak. Cook up some food. Okay, travel, right? I'm just showing you the Euphrates River. Once we get out of this river, you're gonna see where it leads you to. Okay. Is this even the same Euphrates River? Fuck. Oh, fuck, wrong one. Either way, I found it. Euphrates River, all the way down here, down here, down here, all the way here, all the way here, all the way there. Keeps on going. Keep going. All right, you follow the map. Look, 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 look. It starts opening up now. Look, boom, boom, boom. Euphrates, 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 Euphrates. Euphrates, Euphrates, Euphrates. Well, you see the river, right? It changes. It probably was still called the Euphrates at the time. They changed the name. But you see what's up. You see what's up. You see what's up. And these nations, they know who we are, man. Okay? These other nations, these Persians and whatnot, these Assyrians, they know what time it is. And where do we end up? In the Gulf? Where is that? This is the Persian Gulf, right? Yeah, the Persian Gulf. This is where we end up. See? Euphrates River all the way into the Persian Gulf. Okay? So keep that in mind, because I'm not done yet. Now, it says, for the Most High then showed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. For through that country there was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half. So it took them a year and a half to get to the other side of the world, which seems about right. Okay, especially if the Lord's dealing with you, whatever, and the quote unquote technology at the time. Okay, and the Spirit of the Lord guiding them. It seemed about right. It take about a year and a half to cross. Seems about right. You know? So keep that in mind now. Keep that in mind. Excuse me. So yeah, I believe that this is the Assyrian. Hold on. Oh, this was the Assyrian king. Okay, Assyrian Empire. Okay, all of it was. Yeah. So you get the point. Assyrian Empire. You get it. So I believe this is the Euphrates River is right here. Fuck, I'm bugging. It was right here. So yeah, Euphrates River all the way through. Okay? That's what's going on. You see what's up all the way through Persian Gulf. Guess what? The Persian Gulf exists today. All right? It's a year and a half. So let's go back. Let's go back to our little trek on Google Maps. And so obviously they're traveling here through. They're traveling through. Let's zoom out a bit. It's okay. So now they're traveling around. And then they're traveling down. Okay? And obviously within these times that they can stop off, set up a camp, you know what I mean? Fry some fish, whatever. Cook some food, you know what I mean? So of course it's gonna take some time. You feel me? They're traveling all throughout the Horn of Africa, right? So all throughout the bottom, all throughout here. This took them about a year and a half. Okay? So then, look, they travel, and they travel, and they end up here. Okay? And some of them said, you know what? Let's set up shop here. Some of the tribes said, you know what? I'm good here. Let's set up shop here. Right? Some of the tribes, they they said, you know what, I'm going to travel up a bit more and set up shop here. Okay? That's if they wanted to do that, right? And like I said, so on and so forth, all the way along here. Because if you're traveling along the coast, it's nothing to get onto the land, right? It's not a big deal. Okay? And a good majority of them just got off and set up shop. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them could have walked up. I'm just speculating at this point. A lot of them could have, travel, walk up, walk through, make their way all the way up. Or some of them still travel along the coast. Then they got into the Caribbean, right? Puerto Rico, whatever, Caribbean island, Dominican Republic, Haiti, all right, Cuba, Jamaica, all right. You got the Arawaks and Tainos, okay, all throughout here, right? Traveling, okay. So that's how you got here. That's how you got there, okay. But you're so focused on this is my land, but you don't even know how you got there to begin with. You see what I'm saying? I know that for a fact. The fact that because the Lord don't make you see, if you can't grasp this, that's on you. But for the elect, this makes perfect sense. You see what I'm saying? That makes a lot of sense to the elect. The elect are like, yeah, yo, that makes a lot of sense. Now it explains how they got here. Esau's teaching you some bullshit. How they passed the Bering Strait. Native Americans. That's what I'm saying. Esau's telling you that the Native Americans are Chinese and they crossed the Bering Strait when there was an ice age. And they came all the way here and all the way down. That's bullshit. That's not how they got to this land. Okay? That's some bullshit lies that he teaches in your school. But you rather believe that than the scriptures, right? Because to you think we're just niggas teaching, man. All right. So, where are we? I told you how long it would take, and that's how you guys ended up there. But let's fast forward to 1619. Yeah. All right. Deuteronomy 28 and 48. Oh no, I lied. 68. Says, and the Lord Yahweh shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Okay? This would happen, man. This is the documented transatlantic slavery that took place unto our people, man. Southern Kingdom. I'm mainly dealing with Judah in this particular topic. Alright, but this happened to our people nonetheless. And it happened to all the tribes. All you tribes took part in this, man. Okay? Because best believe when the so-called white man first got to the Americas, he was taking some of you Native Americans back to Europe as well, as servants and slaves and shit like that too. Why is that so far-fetched to believe? Because the so-called white man doesn't teach it? Don't be simple. The reason why he doesn't want to teach it is that he doesn't want to show that there's similarities between the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, that we're all one. He slaughtered the Native Americans. He slaughtered you. Okay, you Jakes claiming to be Native American, that's fine, that's great. You can be that. But understand, the so-called white man slaughtered you. Okay? Okay? You're not going to rise up against this devil until you turn back to your power. Unless you turn back to your power. Okay? Which is Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. Alright? So you're taking L's right now. You're so focused on being different, proving to the world that you're different, you're better than, You're better than this type of black or whatever. I'm not black, quote unquote black. I don't like that word either. I'm not African or whatever. I don't like that word either. All right, but you Jakes, you deny the 12 tribe chart. So I gotta speak to how you would get it. You know, let's get the prophecy on Gad. Gad, all right, you Native Americans, and this really happened. This happened to Reuben as well, which is you Seminole Indians as well. Okay, you may not have been. You were conquered. Okay, Esau may not have been able to conquer you, but you still you're under his confines. All right, yeah, Reuben was a wild one, right? You're still under the confines of the Edomites. You know, Esau may not have been able to one-on-one, you know, get you down, and you know, but you're like almost a fugitive in your own land. You're on the run now. You may not have been got down. Esau may have never got you, but you're on the run. There's no rest for you. Or wherever you go, you gotta be on the run from Esau. Your pride, you know, you Reubenites, your pride comes from, I'm talking about the 2/3 in that mindset, comes from like, you know, Esau never been able to conquer us, so to speak. You know? We can get that, the thing on them as well. Let me read this. Genesis 49:19. Gad, a troop shall overcome him, but he shall overcome at the last, right? The cavalry, all right? They took you down, man, the Native Americans. They slaughtered you guys, right? They made deals with you guys. They robbed your land. They did all type of shit, man. But this was a prophecy that was going to befall upon these people in the last days. All right, Gadites. Okay. It says Genesis 49:3. Reuben, thou art my firstborn, my might, and the beginning of my strength, the excellency of dignity, and the excellency of power. Unstable as water, wild boy. All right. A lot of, you know, Reuben is a wild boy. You know, he turned up. A lot of what you see, you know, even in the Midwest, like you know, Reuben's everywhere. But you know, I know there's a lot of Reubenites in the Midwest. It's my spirit, you know. And then even you have the elder Malcolm. He's Reuben as well. Right, so that also further what's that shit? That further proves my point. Okay, but if you look at Chicago, right? It's a wild place. Chicago is like the wild west. That's a wild place. A lot of those so-called black people you see over there is really Reuben. You know what I'm saying? Or Gad. And Judah too. Don't get it twisted. Judah's there too. Right? Because you're going to have those ones where they say, you know, my family traced back to the south and we moved up here, you know. Some of us, we moved up here. All right? We moved up to Chicago. We moved up to Detroit. We moved up to New York. Right? But my family traced back to Mississippi or Alabama or, right? But then you're going to have the ones that say, hey, we been here. This is where we been. We ain't never, you know what I'm saying? My family been here. I ain't never moved. I'm from here. I don't go back to this stuff. Like, you know, you could trace your lineage to some degree, right? So I'm not against all of that. The Lord tells you to do that, right? But there's also a bigger picture to all this, man. Trace your lineage back to the Heavenly Father, right? That's what you want to do, because this is the greatest people on the earth. You taking pride in something that led to your downfall. It doesn't make sense. All right, even you Caribbeans, you Benjamites, man, you love a fucking flag, man. You love a flag. Like that represents you. Oh no, my flag. Where's your flag? Raise your flag. You know, fuck your flag. All right, the Lord don't care about your goddamn flag. Okay, now you know this is a joke. You know, but you know, brothers, if you want to blend in to this world, Rep, the Benjamin brothers that know me, whatever. I'm talking about at my camp or whatever, here in Toronto. But brothers, if you want, man, get that boxing gloves, those mini boxing gloves, and have it dangling off your car. What's that mirror called? Rear view mirror. And make sure I have the flag of where you're from on it. And you just have that on your car, man, just so you blend into this world. Cause ain't nobody got time to be getting into it with these people about who the true Israelites are, man. Only on the highways and byways and our epistles do we have the time for that. But on a regular day, yeah, I am Jamaican. Fuck it, I'm Jamaican. I am American. Quote unquote, I am African American. Fuck it, I'm not getting into it, you niggas. I am Trinidadian. I am Mexican. I'm not getting into the nitty gritty. I'm gonna have the flag there, just blend it into society. Cut off Esau in traffic. He's like, that fucking spick. He sees the gloves dangling off your rear view mirror. He's pissed. He's like, but he could identify. He's like, that damn Jamaican. Fuck him, or whatever. Fuck it. I'm just making jokes. But yeah. Yeah. Where is it? Reuben, yeah. Verse 4. Unstable as water, thou shalt not excel, because thou wentest up to thy father's bed, then defiledest thou it. He went up to my couch. Yeah. And the thing is about all the tribe, the wickedness of these tribes, right, is that they all taught each other wickedness. They all taught each other their form of wickedness. So each tribe dips and dabbles in all their wickedness. So now I could say, I'm not going to say this for a fact, but based off of this, Judah too. Judah's wicked, man. But Reuben, maybe Reuben may have had that spirit of adultery on him, that tribe. You know what I mean? That spirit on them. Maybe they have that spirit on them now. But obviously all the tribes are in that. Okay? Because Judah's heavy into that. Benjamin. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, all the tribes are heavy into wickedness. But then when you go to who? Maybe Zebulun or Issachar. They kind of started the whole tattoo thing. But all the tribes are into tattoos. Gad, Reuben, Judah, Benjamin. Okay? So they all teach each other wickedness. Anyways, it doesn't even matter. This is Ecclesiastes 3 and 15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. There's nothing new under the sun. Okay? Always remember that. Stay sharp. Alright? It says, that which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And Yahweh requireth that which is past. The Lord requires you to remember the past. Okay? Not knowing, I don't know, and I just live for now. The Lord don't like people like that, man. So you're NPC at that point. You're just an NPC. You're just living. Yeah. Lord ain't dealing with NPCs, man. That's a topic right there. I might have to do that, man. The Lord ain't dealing with NPCs. That's what I gotta do that one still. Or whoever wants to hop on it, man. That's all you, brother. You know. Um, let's see. I know that whatsoever y'all shall be fair, nothing can. Okay. Let's see. Let me get this one. Deuteronomy 4:32. Yeah, read. Yeah, 31. I'm gonna start at 31. For the Lord thy God Yahweh is a merciful God. He will not forsake thee, neither destroy thee, nor forget the covenant of thy fathers, which he sware unto them. Okay, he's not going to destroy you completely. That's right, it's going to be an elect, a remnant that the Lord's going to be dealing with in these last days. And through the elect remnant, the rest of the nation is going to come through their loins and they're going to repopulate the earth. Okay, the righteous seed is going to repopulate the earth. Okay, with the quote unquote wicked souls of past that were destroyed on this side. Okay, by the famine, by Esau through Esau's sword, military, whatever. The hell that's gonna come on this side, on Jacob's trouble. All right, all you that got caught up in Jacob's trouble, the missiles, teeth of wild beasts. Okay, you're gonna come back through the loins of the righteous men, elect. All right. Verse 32. For ask now of the days that are past. Right, that's what you're supposed to do. And I'm here giving an example of bringing you to remembrance of these things, which are before thee, since the day that Yahweh created man upon the earth. Okay, that's how far back you're supposed to really track your lineage, man. Okay, basically back to Adam. Okay, and it's there for you. It's clearly there. There's no mystery in it, man. It's only given to the elect. All right, I read that earlier. Okay. Ask now the days that are past, which were before thee, since the day that Yahweh created man upon the earth, and ask from the one side of heaven unto the other, whether there have been any such a thing great, such as this great thing is, or hath been heard like it. All right, the works of the Heavenly Father, the glory, the blessings that's going to be bestowed upon the Israelites. Right? That's what there's nothing ever heard of, man. The kingdom of heaven. Okay? What's that? What's better than what's to come, man? All right? So with that, I'm going to close up. I'm going to pray you were edified and say shalom to the next one. You know, our people need to get out of that mindset. You know, Lord will, you're edified. And to the next one. Shalom.